Welcome back to episode 8 of MMA UFC 263 recap. We're going to talk about our picks, what happened this past weekend, its effect on the MMA universe, and who will walk out of here the reigning or defending and new Chapology Score champion. I'm your host, Chris Kennedy, with my co-host on the right side, the devious one, Ivan C. I've got one half of the Mares of Pain brothers from Championship on the Line podcast, Alex Marez, and the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Rage Ing from IR Fighting Systems. That's EYR, Engage Your Rage. Also, head coach, assistant coach. What is your coaching duties down there at the Black House MMA school?
You're on mute.
I'm the head coach of the IR division and a striking coach at Black House MMA.
Got it. So IR is taught inside of the Black House facility. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That is awesome. Welcome back, Coach Rage. It is an absolute honor to have you on the show. Last week, you dropped some knowledge bombs on us, and I hope with our picks we don't disappoint and look like a bunch of Cheeto-fingered keyboard warriors just making So let's get right down to it. So we do have scores from everybody here except for Coach, and I do have scores for Richard, who did not make it tonight. Hopefully all is well, and he is not chopped heavy out of the business. I don't know. Did your brother take any pro wrestling chops?
No, just me.
Just you. Oh, and you made it to the podcast still.
Yeah, I know.
I know, right? God damn, son.
Yeah.
All right. So this time I actually have a timer on the screen, which is going to be awesome. That only applies to the non-fighters here, the rookies, me, Alex, and Ivan. And who should go first? Let's do Richard first. Richard is not here, so we can kind of make fun of his picks if we want to.
Why not?
Yeah, right. And I can just go over these real quick. Richard had Paul Craig by submission in round 2. That was very close. Bilal Muhammad over Damian Maia by a decision. That was perfect. Leon Edwards, round 4, TKO. He had the right winner, wrong ending. Figueiredo by TKO in round 3. Close. He was half right. And same with Marvin Vettori by decision. Also wrong. So he had 8 of 14 correct picks, with 4 of those picks being the perfect finish with a score of 500. That sets the bar, man. So currently, Richard's in the lead with the score. So let's cut it right now to a former champ, Alex. Let's see.
That's right. Former champ. Former two-time champ, bro.
He's lost the belt twice, ladies and gentlemen. He's a regular GSP. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Just he lost it once, but he lost 2 title fights. That's the reference. All right, cool. So I have the scores pulled up with Alex, so I'm just going to pull that right up to make it easier. Bang. Yeah. And I actually have a clock right here too, which is really rad. So let's start with the first fight of the night, which I found out it's actually Jamal, not Jamahal. The extra syllable is just silent, I guess. I'm dumb.
It's just the word how it's like, you know how it's memorized. It makes you think that way. That's why, you know.
No worries. All respect to the fighters. I want to get the names right. I'm not Brendan Shaw, who can't pronounce Smith right.
He does it right.
I'm just saying that boy ain't right. CTE's getting to him. So you had Jamal Hill, TKO round 2. We all know the finish was Paul Craig with a slightly controversial submission in round 1. Talk about it.
Yeah, I think like I said before, I just thought that Paul Craig or Jamal Hill was going to keep it on the stand-up, and I thought he was going to knock him out. And I thought, his striking was a little better than Paul Craig. And I think, I knew Paul Craig's ground game was really good, way better than Jamal Hill. And that's what happened. Got him to the ground and submitted him and, broke his arm, and that was it. I think he looked really good. It's just the problem with Paul Craig is he'll have 2 good fights, and then he'll go on a losing streak, and then he'll lose, and he'll come back. And it's just now hopefully we can see him get some momentum, get some wins going, and climb up the rankings. And I think he did a pretty good job being an undefeated fighter like Jamal Hill.
Yeah, with time left on the clock, I'll say that Dana White confirmed that the only injury was a dislocated shoulder that was put right back into place. There was actually no long-term damage, no broken arm.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, there probably might have been a torn ligament or 2, but it wasn't as bad as it looked for sure. So I don't know how that's possible. Yeah, that dude must be made out of rubber because he's tough as shit. Because it was technically a TKO stoppage. I mean, him and the ref stopped it at the same exact time, which is wild.
Yeah.
All right. Bilal Muhammad versus Damian Maia. You had a 3-round decision for Bilal. You had that correct. Talk about it.
Yeah, I think we all agree that as long as he kept it on the feet, he was going to win this fight, in which he did. I think Damian Maia tried to take him down and put it on the ground, but he just couldn't do it. Mahala's defense was really, really good, and he looked great and landed some good strikes. And on the feet, he was controlling the fight, and he looked really good. For Maia, I don't know. Dana White says this is his last fight, especially with the company. So, and he's 43 years old. So, I don't know where he goes. Maybe he'll go to Bellator, maybe PFL, or maybe he would just retire.
Bellator.
It's gonna be interesting to see where he goes. But overall, good win for Muhammad, especially for for him to climb up. It's a good name to have on his record. So, good win for Muhammad.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think that this fight puts him somewhere more important than if he'd had a rematch with Leon and won by decision, or do you think this fight kind of just keeps him in the same spot?
I think it keeps him in the same spot, honestly.
So I don't need to get into this later, but I think he still should get that rematch with Leon.
I think in the future.
That should be next for both of them, in my opinion. I know Kamaru actually wants Leon, so it is worth the champ's decision. I guess we've seen him call the shot on his title defenses before. So
yeah.
All right, man. And speaking of which, you had Leon Edwards by decision versus a not so young, but still baller as fuck Nate Diaz. Holy shit, bro. Classic Nate Diaz fight. Talk about that one.
Really good fight. I mean, Leon did what he had to do. I think overall, I just think that his striking was a little bit more sharper than Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz was a little bit kind of a slow starter. Took him a while. I mean, we saw what happened in the 5th round. He almost put him away. But again, that was in the 5th round in the last minute. But again, it just shows Nate Diaz is still tough, and he can still he still has the skills to be on top. But Leon just was quicker, a little bit more busier. He looked really good in the stand up. But like I said, if Nate Diaz would have done it, maybe if he had another minute, probably could have put him away. But overall, Leon passed it through. He made it, and he got the win.
I mean, a lot of fans think that, if this is Pride and Pride rules, the scoring in Pride was based on the entire fight.
Yeah.
And Nate obviously walked out of there with, if he could get any more fans than already, this was the fight to do it. Do you think this, as a technical loss, but a moral victory, hurts his career, his standings? I mean, I don't even know if he's ranked right now because he's been off for 2 years.
Yeah.
Where do you think this puts Nate?
Well, what's his ranking right now, Nate? Is he even ranked?
I don't have that pulled up, but I can grab that. That was at 155, right? Or 170.
But I think for now, Nate just wants big fights, honestly. He just wants big names, big fights. Sure. I don't think he really cares about, trying to get a title shot. I think he just wants to make the most money he can and get the big names while he can.
Nate is not ranked in the top 15 right now, but that might be an active status thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Leon obviously is 3. So unranked versus 3, but obviously Nate is an attraction show. So Nate can come in and fight. He can be number 30 and come in and fight in the top 5 and sell the fuck out of that arena. So that's the forgiveness that I think either Diaz brother is afforded is kind of. I mean, Nick's on like a 9-year layoff. He can come in right now and fight anybody in the top 3. Sell out the pay-per-view, get the title shot, and no one would technically be really that mad about it.
Yeah.
All right, now we're on to our title fights, man. Co-main event: Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon, the Assassin Baby. Does that mean he kills us? He kills babies? Baby of Assassin? Never understood that name.
I just think he looks like a baby. But
I get that. Like the baby face.
He's a baby face.
Face assassin, Josh Barnett. You had Figueiredo by TKO in round 2. That's obviously not what happened. We do have our first Mexican-born champion, Brandon Moreno, with a rear naked choke in the 3rd round. Brother, tell me how you were feeling as, I'd like to say, a Latino yourself. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fight that I think, obviously they were both going to make adjustments, but, I think Moreno looked really good. The first fight, it was kind of one of those things where I was watching it. Figueiredo tends to have his hands very low, and when you're that close to the opponent, you could jab him, very fast, very easy. And Moreno did that in this fight, and it worked really well for him. He looked really focused, and he was determined to get that title. I think as soon as he walked out in that cage, he was ready. And I just think Figueiredo didn't have an answer. Moreno controlled the pace of the fight. His stand-up was on point. and he took him down and got the choke and submitted the champion. And Moreno just, it was just his night, and he looked really good. And can't wait for the rematch because I know it's going to be a rematch, and we'll see what happens.
I feel like that as well.
Yeah.
And main event of the night: Israel, the style bender, Adesanya versus Marvin, the Italian Dream, not Stallion, the Italian Dream. Talk about that. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Again, I just wish Marvin would have. I just wish he would have been more. I just wish he would have threw more. There was times where he had him in the cage, and he was very close to him. And when you're close, you had success in throwing punches and landing punches, and he didn't throw anything. He had him caught. He had him. He didn't have him caught, but he had him. Against the fence, and he had him. There's times where he could land some punches, but he just didn't throw anything. He was, waiting, and just, Adesanya was more busier, landing the kicks, and it just, but Troy didn't do anything. You could even tell, like, Cordero was like, stop waiting and throw. Just throw. You're not doing anything. And that's what happened. Adesanya, took advantage of it, through the leg kicks, through punches, and won him the fight.
All right, cool, man. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I'll get to that when I get to my minutes. So the score 450 puts you right now at second place. I'm gonna pop it on over to Ivan. You think you did well, buddy? How do you think you did?
Yeah, I think I did all right. Yeah, I think I did all right.
All right, let's find out.
Oh,
damn! Running in the lead.
Dang,
I did better than you, Alex. What the fuck?
I know.
You did almost better than both of them combined. No, I'm just kidding.
Who'd
All
you
right,
pay,
man.
Ivan?
Oh man.
Hey,
that wasn't even part of the fucking prediction show, and I'm like, screw it. I had to go with my heart.
Who'd you ask?
And you know why? Because I was listening to Coach of what his predictions, and he explained why. And so I had
don't blame a trained professional.
Hey. I didn't blame him. I'm acknowledging him.
No,
I'm not blaming him. I'm acknowledging him because I listened to what he was saying last week, and he made a lot of good sense of what he was saying. That's why I kind of went with my picks.
All right.
That's what I said, just to get that clarified.
I understand. All right, man. So first fight of the night, you had Jamal Hill with a decision over Paul Craig. Did not go that way, and you got 1 minute.
I did not expect it at all. I expected, Jamal to go ahead and be there and dominate, which he kind of was, but that was unexpected. Just overall to see Paul, his jiu-jitsu is always on point, man. The guy got it. Just that twist around and I was just like, oh my God, the arm. And then it's like, and he was still striking him as he was, hitting Paul Craig, and I'm like, Jesus, that fight should have stopped by now. I don't know why the ref he kind of delayed. But I think he kind of realized when he saw his arm, Jesus, yeah, it's done deal. And then a very unexpected, but good win for Craig, for most definitely. I mean, it doesn't move him up in the rankings, but later on.
Think so? That was at 205, right?
She's a light heavyweight. So he's he's what right now?
Okay, you're right. Jamal Hill wasn't actually ranked, so Paul probably sits at 14 right now.
Jamal's at 15. And Craig's at 15.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so he's comfy at 14, but he's not moving up yet. I don't think.
Yeah, not anytime soon. It'll take him time.
All right, man. And Damian Maia versus Bilal Muhammad. You had Damian Maia by decision, which honestly isn't batshit crazy, but it just didn't go down that way.
No, I was expecting this is Maia's last opportunity, at his age as well. And I don't know how Alex said, I think this is a wrap up. And I think this is going to be his last fight in UFC. His last two fights, especially against Gilbert Burns. And then it's just, this one, I think that's a wrap for him now. I think, Bellator. I'm going to Bellator, bro, or PFL. One of those two he's going to go to. Bellator always gets the retired people anyway. So it's going to be Bellator. So don't be surprised. You'll hear UFC cut Maia, and then
I think you'd be surprised.
Huh?
I kind of think PFL. I think PFL's
going. Yeah, I think PFL.
I think PFL's going to pay more right now. Give or take, but a lot of cool things are going on in PFL that it's not this show, but that I'm very interested in what they have planned for the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz, TKO round 3.
Yeah, I was expecting a TKO. But yeah, you gotta give credit to Diaz. He still got it, man. He still got that jaw. He has that jaw that he's able to take those punches. And he had the opportunity to take out Leon. And I don't know why he slipped on it. He just pointed at him. Oh, look at him. He's wobbling. Like, what are you doing? Go in there.
And keep going.
Keep going. If he would have kept on going, I think he would actually won the fight. It would have shocked everyone. I mean, especially us, that we chose Leon because a younger version of him. And, he's an upcoming, hungry competitor. But just seeing this overall, Diaz still got a lot of tank left. Like how Alex said, I agree. He's going to just go for marquee name fights, money fights. That's what he'll go for. I don't think he gives a damn about the title contention. My opinion. I think it's more about money fights. That's what I think about it.
Yeah, the Dustin Poirier line of thinking right there for sure. It's about time you guys got paid.
Yeah.
All right, man. Co-main event: Brandon Moreno versus Davidson Figueiredo. You had Moreno by decision, so you had the right winner, wrong outcome. Yeah, man. I mean, it was a barn burner. I mean, at least one-sided barn burner for sure. Go for it.
Oh man, this was a great storytelling in the making. It's like when you see in professional wrestling, telling stories. This is an actual fight, an actual combat sport fight. Storytelling. This is like a babyface straight out. And what if I were Dana White right now, I will market this man right now all over Mexico right now. Do that right now because you need that market in Mexico. Now you have your firstborn Mexican champion. Yeah, you had it with Kane as well because he was really marketed in Mexico, and he was very popular, and he still is popular, But now that Moreno is the champion, I would highly recommend to the UFC. Now it's up to the promoters to promote him right, and right now it's the right time to do that because this fight itself was a great storytelling. He said it years ago, one day I will be a champion, and he did it. Great fight overall, and he fought a great top contender, top champion. Definitely going to see a rematch, and I cannot wait.
Nice. And that main event, Izzy versus Vittori. You had decision for Adesanya, man. You nailed that right on the fucking head. And talk about that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of hard to go against Izzy. I mean, the man dominated. The man already dominated the whole middleweight division. That's it. Who else is there left? I forgot. Who did he call out? I forgot. He called out
Whitaker.
He called Whitaker.
I'm like,
I mean, that's what it looks like. But I think Izzy already just ran all over that division. There's really nobody there anymore. I mean, yeah, you get your rematch with Whitaker, but what's next after that? You need to fight John Jones, buddy. You need to fight him. That's what we need to see, and that was just to solidify his career, his legacy. I think that's what we're needing, us as fans, and for himself, because what else is there to do in that division? So
Brunson
for the next year.
Okay, Bronson, but what? All right, we'll wait on.
Yeah, that'd be a rematch then.
Yeah,
the Derek Brunson thing. I think that was like one of his first KOs in the company. All right, now on to the reigning, defending, possibly and new Tapology champion. I love you guys, but I'm not impressed with your performances.
Of course, you. And still, Tapology world champion.
Started off sketchy, man. I got a lot of perfect.
The director himself.
9 of 14 correct picks. Of the 9 correct picks, 6 of those were perfect outcomes.
Hell yeah, good shit, man.
And I can get through this pretty quickly because all the gold's sitting in the bottom right corner right there that we want to get to. With the Jamal Hill, Paul Craig, I was absolutely surprised that Jamal's game plan was to not stay the fuck anywhere away from Paul Craig's guard.
Yeah,
that might have been young. I don't want to say cockiness, but confidence, maybe misplaced confidence in his ground skills. Maybe he didn't know how good Paul was on the ground. But there's other fighters that have been undefeated that have lost to that same exact position from Paul Craig, who this is his first, I'd say, young blood up-and-coming fighter that he's faced and beaten. It's been like Shogun, people that have years on them, people with equal experience as him. And he put him out quick. I mean,
yeah.
Soon he was in that guard, he was not getting out. He was transitioning from triangle to the Vicavallo, which is that triangle arm that Verdun uses. And then the ref not knowing whether or not there's a tap, a sub, or a go to sleep or whatever. At the post-fight, Dana had blasted that guy. Apparently, he's got a bad rep for doing that. And for no injuries for Jamal Hill, wow. But Paul Craig, unfortunately, does not move up. Hopefully he gets someone inside the top 12.
Yeah.
All right. Bilal Muhammad versus Damian Maia. This is what I hoped would happen. I hoped that Bilal would use his wrestling in reverse. His takedown defense was on point. He knew exactly what Damian Maia's game plan was. I know they mentioned that Damian does have great hands, and he was trying to use them to get inside, but he just couldn't do anything. And Bilal stayed on the outside and just defense fought the whole time. Took the decision, and I hope he gets that money fight because the dude's been grinding, and he's been winning more than he's been losing. So I hope he gets that fight with Leon or something that pays that check to make up for that eye poke that should not have happened, in the first place. Obviously, it was an accident, but he's owed a little bit more than I think the fans are giving him credit for right now. I only needed 48 seconds on that one. Leon, no worries, man. Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz. Me and Coach both thought that there would be a TKO by doctor stoppage. It was starting to look that way. As soon as that blood started pouring out of Diaz's left eye, I believe, I think it was Herb Dean was checking. The doctor was checking. It was dripping outside of the eye, down the cheek, so it wasn't into the eye, which is generally why they would stop a fight. But that happened early in the fight. And Leon was in control. He was working that leg. I don't know why he didn't continue to work that leg. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and tell a professional fighter what I think he should have done. But that leg, in my opinion, looked compromised enough to where if he kept working it, may have led to a finish. That being said, Nate is tough as fuck, and we all know that. And, he put it on in the last minute.
You still got it.
Yeah.
You still got it.
If this was Pride Rules, he might have taken it, but it's not. So you can't expect to win 1 minute out of a 25-minute fight and win the actual fight, but he did win the fans, and I love him for that.
Yeah.
Brandon Moreno versus Davison Figueiredo. I had Moreno by TKO in round 3. God damn, I was close. I just had a feeling. Within 2 minutes of that first round, Davidson was not pulling triggers. I don't know if he was looking for measurement of range or he just looked like a deer in the headlights, but he just could not seem to have found an opening to pop off or get anything going. And that is kind of the vibe for the next 2 rounds. And as soon as that third round started, something happened in Brandon Moreno. It was like, I need to take him down and finish him now. And that's exactly what he did. I think he threw some jabs, got inside, got a takedown, got right to his back, worked the hooks in, which I think he had earlier in the fight. So we knew he had confidence in that position. And this time he just finished it. It was very reminiscent of like old BJ Penn fights when he was just running through people, just doing whatever he wants when he got a hold of you. And I loved how he didn't know or realize what had happened. He got up, he walked around. He was like, oh, am I in a fight? Then his team ran in. It's like, you just won the championship. And then you see the emotion welled up and just explode with it. Super proud moment, no matter what country you're from, for a guy who last picked at Ultimate Fighter, then cut a few months later, comes back and is now best in the world in that division. Crazy story. Main event, Izzy versus Marvin Vettori. This was just a brain pick. I would love to have seen Marvin do more on the inside. I think there was a lot of times he was trying to get up against the cage with him, kind of stifle the range. He just unfortunately had no pressure that looked like it would have put Izzy in a compromised position, unfortunately. I like Izzy. He's cool. I like Marvin. Mad respect. Obviously, he trains down at Black House and over at Gracie Bar with our coach, Jose Vera, who couldn't make it tonight. And the reign of the style bender continues. Who's next is going to be a bunch of rematches until someone inside the top 10 moves up to the top 5, like Jack Hermanson, Darren Till, Edmund Shabazian. Those guys all have to sort that shit out before they get a title shot at Izzy. So I think it's going to be, Izzy's next 2 years are going to look like his last 2 years, just dominating the same people he's been working through. I don't think the Jones thing is going to happen. I think Jones is going to get that $12 million paycheck to fight Ngannou in the summer. I hope that would be fantastic. But those are my thoughts on the entire card. But now we got to save the best for last. He's been sitting there patiently listening to our dumbasses talk about shit we don't want to talk about.
Yes, he has.
I hope he's forgiving. Hope none of our picks offended him, but I'm going to let the man speak, and I'm going to go radio silent for the one, the only Coach Ray Jing.
All right. Thank you. Man, I wish I had figured out how to do this topology thing.
I taught them. I can teach you. We can teach each other.
So, Chris, you had mentioned that you were not going to sit here and tell professional fighters what they should have done.
That's
And
true.
that's actually my job, and I'm qualified to do that. So I will be telling these fighters what they should have done. Okay, so the first fight was Paul Craig and Jamal Hill. And I picked Craig to win. I don't remember which round, and it was by submission because I felt Jamal's stand-up was sloppy. So, yeah, we know what happened. I just need to say the ref should be fired. That arm was dislocated is the official diagnosis, but it was flopping around. Anyone could tell that it was something's not right.
He couldn't lift it anytime after the fight until the camera went off.
Yeah, and you know, now Dana is being euphemistic. He's cleaning it up for the fans. He said, "Oh, the arm worked perfectly. He just needs blah 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 blah." No, that's a dislocated elbow. That's a severe injury, and it's going to be a lot of rehab. And that arm will never be the same again. When you have a joint like that, where the olecranon process comes apart, no, that's not just like, oh, we popped it back and everything's fine. That's a severe injury. It's going to be a long rehab, and he will never have proper full function of that arm. But you know, that's the sport we play.
Yeah.
Next fight is Muhammad and Maya, right?
Yes, sir.
And I was disappointed in Muhammad. I think he made a huge mistake for his career. He is not well received by the fan base, and he was very, very conservative in this fight because he didn't want to rush in, give Maya the chance to take him down. But he should have finished Maya, and he was way too defensive. He hung out, let Maya hold his leg on that single leg, and you know, if you want to call it a single leg, you know, he just kind of grabbed the leg, and yeah, it's not a true wrestling single leg, but yeah. So I was very disappointed with how he chose to go after this. This could have been a turning point in his career, and now it's just another fight, and you're just another tough guy that complains that you don't have enough fans and that you're not making enough money. But he should have gone out, made a statement, put away the old guy, retired him. That's what should have happened, but he didn't. So,
do you think this is the end of the fighting road for Maya, or does it just split off into another organization? Does Dana give him one more?
Dana is not giving him any more. Dana made that pretty clear. Now, I don't know what the actual contract is. So, you know, usually when Dana says it's over,
it's usually over.
It's usually over. Yeah. So he said that. I personally, I'm a fan of retirement. I'm a fan of getting out while you still have brain cells, while you still, you know, my friend and teammate, Alan Jaban, I think is the example of doing it right. You know, he fought, he won, and then as he started getting a little bit older, before he started getting a little bit older, he started making other opportunities. He started doing broadcasts. He was a model. for Sachi. So we don't all have that option, but I think he's like the example of how to do it. MMA is not a career. MMA is an opportunity to create other opportunities. And it's just like the drug game or whatever. You make your money and then you get out. And so with Maya, man, he's already too old. I think he has a lot of opportunity in teaching, in seminars, in jiu-jitsu for MMA, specializing, starting a chain of gyms, whatever. He can do that in the business world, but the fight game, I think he should be done. Okay.
Cool. Gotcha.
Yeah. What's next?
We got Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz.
Yeah. I was disappointed in Leon. He knew what Nate was doing. He had it, talked it over with the team, had it in his mind. Okay, don't let him get in my head. Stay calm, stay relaxed. Brother, you're still in a fight. And he forgot the fight part of fighting. So he pulled it back, and it was this sparring match. And Chris, you had mentioned, why didn't he go after the leg? Why didn't he go after when you're fighting, you are looking for ways to hurt the other person, right? Hurt and or damage. But he had talked himself down to not falling for the mind games and all the Diaz shenanigans, that he actually talked himself too low for a fight, and it was almost just sparring. Leon could have finished. He could have strung combos together, leg, body, head, body, leg. He could have finished that fight. And it because he stepped it back and cooled it down, Nate was able to come back and rock him. That should not have happened. That fight should have been over before Nate even had the chance to rally.
Agreed. 100% agree.
Now,
from just a standpoint, you're yelling at the screen. You're like, finish him. And
yeah, and when
you're a Nate fan, just go.
Yeah. And when Nate did rock Leon, like I stood up. I was ooh. I was excited to see it. And how amazing is it that no matter what either Diaz brother does, they get more fans. Yeah. It's like you get split open and you lose, more fans. You win, more fans. You drop your joint and set something on fire, more fans. They're just.
I remember amazing. there was a time when at least Nate, whenever they are notorious for not liking press conferences, crowd interaction. They just want to fight. They don't give a shit about, I don't want to say the fame, but the money. The money part of it matters, but like, I don't know if they're just introverts or assholes as far as media goes. But seeing Nate in his past 2 or 3 fights acknowledge the adoration of the fans and seemingly be grateful and talking to them directly, not getting on the mic and being like, fuck you guys, I'm out. Like, they've done before. I really do like that new persona or evolution of the personality where they're actually interacting. I watched the press conferences, the pre, the post, and you see him really appreciate the fans and making jokes and shit, stuff that they did not do when they first showed up on the scene. So that version of the Diaz brothers, I'm really into. So I hope we're still kind of not at the end of either one of their careers, just to see where those personalities can jettison. I mean, they keep getting new fans, even though they've been around forever. It's like they're already loved. Now there's just stratosphere of love coming their way.
Yeah, they are icons within the sports, and they occupy a unique niche that only they have. It's amazing to see, and that new attitude I think has a lot to do with money. That they realize, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with it. Absolutely. I'm like, shit, I'm losing money because of my attitude. I
These
better
people
change
pay
it
my
up.
bills, so I should probably.
Yeah, they paid my bills, of course. I mean, yes, I absolutely. And come on, I don't think not even Covington can even reach at the Diaz level of
Right.
like how
No,
they are. No,
not
hell
even.
no,
Yeah.
not even close.
You couldn't hate Kobe Covington as much as people love the Diaz brothers.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just like just like the presence itself is how they've been throughout the years. It's that presence, that warrior, like that fire in them, like a warrior fighting style, is what get us fans intrigued and be behind them. Like shit, this is just the way how they just not give up. Never give up.
Don't give a fuck. Nate was sparking up before and after, asking for a light from, I think, like one of the press release people, just like seriously definition of DGAF, which I love. It's fantastic.
Definitely.
And we are on to our first title fight of the night, the God of War versus the Baby Assassin. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
I do just want to say one more thing about the Diaz brothers.
Oh, yeah, go for it, of course.
There is an authenticity with what they do that I think that's what fans are really connecting to and relating to, is that it's not an act. They genuinely do not give a fuck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's cool. And then, juxtaposed, like Nate and Nick, they talk shit. They actually say mean things. And then they have fans and people love them. But then you look at Izzy, and for whatever reason, when he says, I'm this great and not everyone loves him. Actually, a lot of people dislike him and find him really abrasive and unlikable. So it's an interesting, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like young fighters need to study the successful, because it's not just about fighting, right? Yeah, you got to win. Yeah, you have to be entertaining. Yeah, you need to be exciting. But there's so much more about who you are, how you present yourself, marketing, media, press. There's so much more to this, and young fighters really need to pay attention and take notes.
I agree, 100%.
Now with Figueiredo and Moreno, let me just say, I was so happy to be wrong with my pick.
Yeah.
I
Same.
thought Figgy was going to come out and just take Moreno apart. Moreno does a lot of technically wrong, really strange, really weird stuff. What I did see, and this is going to sound trite or weird or insignificant, but it's so important. Moreno's straight punches were incredibly straight, and that sounds weird.
The old Mike Goldberg, his accuracy is very accurate.
Exactly, right? So the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And we have straight punches that go from point A to point B, right back to point A. And, speaking from decades of experience, to actually have a truly straight punch is rare, is uncommon. There's a certain amount of curve or hitch or yaw in many of jabs and crosses. And Moreno's were really straight, really fast, no telegraph, and long. He turned and reached, so he had that extra couple inches on his straight punches, and that's what I saw making the difference. And Figgy had no answer for it. And Figgy, in his typical Brazilian brawler style, swings wide, swings hard, makes big movements, and Moreno was able to just cut inside and pop. And then, also outworked him on the ground. The ground game was amazing to me to watch, because it in their last fight, they were a lot more closely matched. And in this fight, Moreno just tore him apart. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with that because the first fight was a close fight. It was a close matchup. I feel that Moreno he really went back to the drawing board and figured this out definitely. Figueiredo, he figured him out. And like how
Then
Alex
again,
said,
was it the first time last minute too? Was it a last minute matchup?
I believe it was
Yeah.
last.
Yeah.
Well, because Figueiredo came off of that quick turnaround, so any
It's
challenger
Perez.
would have to fight. Any challenger would have also had the equally quick of turnaround.
Oh yeah.
And Big was, talking all that shit, which he's allowed to do. Here's me with a full camp. If I was dangerous on 12 days, watch me with 6 weeks or 2 months or whatever.
Yeah.
But also, look at the evolution of you're giving the opponent equally amount of time also. And the one person who made, I think, the biggest adjustment, like Coach said, was getting those accurate jabs in, getting literally to the punch quicker. And from what I could see, it looked like Fig just could not get off. Like he looked like a deer in headlights for most of the first 2 rounds. I was just like, He literally doesn't know what to do. And while he's thinking about his next move, Moreno was on to 2 or 3 moves ahead of that.
Yeah. It reminded me a little bit of the last Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, Moreno doesn't quite have the size and the power of Fury, right? But Deontay Wilder needs space and room to initiate that power, and Figgy very similar, and Moreno was able to crowd him, cut him off, intercept, and run him over.
Yeah. Definitely. For me, it's funny how that division itself was not meant to be in the beginning when it was first introduced, because I think Dana was not really was going to have that division, but until he decided to keep it, then bringing back Moreno and then bringing back bringing a lot of people to that division.
He was thinking about letting it go.
Yeah.
While DJ had the fucking belt at some point.
Yeah.
It didn't exist before WEC. It existed, and then he was thinking about closing it down just when DJ's contract expired, or just pulling the title from him completely.
Yeah,
which is beyond. The president can do whatever he wants. A lot of smart decisions. I don't think that would have been one of them, and this is proof that we have a super fucking star, international star, in Mexico's own Brandon Moreno, who just today I think is doing his winners parade walk. I think he just landed. I got an ESPN alert.
Oh no way, really?
Yeah, that he's going to obviously parade him through. I think he's from TJ, so hopefully right up and down Revolucion Boulevard.
Awesome. Oh yeah, well deserved.
And for this weight class, having a Mexican-born champion will build a fan base, and this weight class will finally make some money and get some respect.
I agree. So, definitely.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the division itself.
If you don't respect that division, and this can be said about any division in almost any professional fighting. I hate to throw this term around, but you're a fucking filthy casual. So that's the only time. That's the only time people that talk shit on a division, just because. How can you say it's not exciting? It's the fastest fighters in the world. They finish. Yeah. I would love to see the finishing rate of just UFC in that division alone. It's got to be up in a higher percentage than the decisions. It's exciting. There's personalities. There are definitely less exciting divisions currently right now than that one, that no one is criticizing just because they're glamour divisions. 205. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got our main event.
This is the main event. So I had mentioned that I was disappointed in Muhammad and that I was disappointed in Leon. I am downright angry with Marvin. This was his fight to lose, and he lost it. He fucked up, and he fucked up in many, many ways over and over again. He was actually arguing with his fucking corner. Yeah. I had a fighter do that to me once, and needless to say, he wasn't my fighter after that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, no, that you're fired immediately. And I don't know what's wrong with Marvin's brain. What's wrong, and arguing, no, I won that round, and not listening. they had the game plan, and the game plan was exactly what Jan did, and what I had said. Excuse me. So in round one, Marvin had caught the leg, taken Israel down, and just kind of hung out in the guard. And that was your chance. That should have been the end of the fight. You should have totally dominated that position, ground and pound, pass guard, ground and pound some more. Keep climbing the ladder. Keep improving your position. Everyone wants to talk about how Israel's ground game has improved and how great his takedown defense is. I 100% disagree. Marvin's wrestling was terrible. There is actually this thing called technique, and he was not utilizing proper technique. You don't just push him against the cage, wrap your hands around his butt, and sit there. There's actually techniques, double leg, single leg, and it's slightly different with the cage. You bump and dump, but man, and head position is crucial for wrestling in MMA, and Marvin never had his head in the right spot, so yeah, angry. I'm angry because I've met Marvin several times. He's trained with us at Black House. He did not train with us for this fight, but still he should have won that fight. And Izzy, I was always, when Izzy came in, I was like, oh, this guy's got a lot of hype. I'm going to reserve judgment. And then I went and watched some of his kickboxing stuff. Okay. I'm hard to impress when it comes to striking. That's my job.
Mm-hmm.
What Izzy does really well is he feints and fakes and misdirects and redirects. He does that extremely well. What he does not do very well is actually fight. And Jan made, it's like, if you actually get Izzy into a brawl and you don't respect his fakes and you don't buy his misdirection and you just go in with a fuck you attitude, that's actually what that's actually what I think fighting is, by the way.
There you go.
Here's fighting. No, fuck you.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah, true.
Very, very true.
That's fighting. So who's gonna fight Izzy? Who's left?
Woo. Woo.
Yeah.
Alex Pereira coming over from LFA, who's already beaten Izzy twice in kickboxing.
He KO'd the shit out of him like a left hook, right?
Yeah, he knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah, I remember that.
So Alex has been training with Glover Teixeira, and yeah, so that, I believe, well, actually, I have insider information that is on the way. So yeah.
Wow, I'll be awesome.
That is a Circle of Debate exclusive right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So Glover's manager is Alex's manager and is also manages.
Glover's not at the Snake Pit or the Pit anymore, right? He's out of the Hackleman business, or is he still up there?
Glover's in Connecticut. Glover has his own his own gym, and there's Glover was at Black House for a while, but we brought him into the States.
Like 12 years of visa issues or some shit. Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. It was crazy, but finally we got him.
Legend. He was a legend that you only heard about.
Exactly.
Charles Camp would talk about this demon from Brazil that's tearing through everybody.
Yeah.
I think he was down in like jungle fights and everything for like 10 years. And every time he tried to come up north, just some weird visa issues. And this went on for a decade. And he just became the boogeyman. That when he finally arrived at the UFC, people were worried about his age. Like, he's already in his mid 30s. I think he debuted at like 33 or some shit like that. And, lived up to a lot of the expectation. But I'd love to have seen him show up a little bit earlier also and see what we would have done to that division.
Yeah.
During the the UFC 50 to 60, I think is when he was starting to get his momentum down south, which would have been fantastic to see him against.
Yeah, it's crazy that Glover's still relevant, and winning. Yeah,
it's great.
Well, he has a shot at the title, right?
Does he definitely have? He definitely has.
I think he's fighting John next. Yeah.
Is
oh
he?
wow,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that's a rumor. I know they said. I know Dana White likes to say, yeah, maybe. That's his favorite thing to say. So you're just like, oh, that's usually a yes.
That'll be interesting. Why not? I think
he deserves it.
He deserves it.
Too, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, well deserved, especially. Coach, let me ask you this: you think that Vettori he overwhelmed himself? Not following the game plan and just more like he was just overwhelming himself, just like the heat with Izzy, and it's like, no, I know I can beat him. Like he just went like over egotistic of himself. You think that's where he kind of fucked it up for himself, not following the game plan?
Oh, man.
Like, did he have a vision of how he wanted to win and just wouldn't stray from that no matter what the coaches told him? Is that a thing
I mean,
he have gone through?
The broadcast crew was literally calling him delusional on air. Like they used that word and then they were like, oh, we probably shouldn't have said that, but
yeah.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
Man, once a fighter starts arguing with their corner,
that's a good sign.
There's what's going through their head. Who the fuck knows? You're so far gone at that point. But the game plan was there. He was, he should have been operating at a level 7, 8, 9, 10, and he never got out of 6. And then his corner said, hey, turn it up. You're running out of 6. Fuck you. I'm running out of 10. No, dude. No, you're not.
Yeah.
So what was actually, misfiring or what was actually going on between his ears? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm very sad and disappointed. Like I said, that was his fight to lose and he lost it.
Yeah.
Once he was on the ground in round 1, he could have, they had a plan for that. Then there were times, man, how many times did he get Izzy down? And he, his Rafael Cordero, his coach, his head coach, is in between rounds telling you exactly what to do, and you got to pick it up, and he wasn't. He was arguing with his coach. So, man.
Yeah. Oh my God. But I mean, what a card though, right? What an incredible card. So which way you guys could say like it was like your fight of the night? Okay, this is my fight of the night. I enjoyed it. Which one could you choose out of all of them? That was like your number one fight.
Okay. If we all don't have the same pick, and I'm going to try to include Coach on this one. If my answer is different than Coach's, eek. But how can you not give it to Brad Riddell and Drew Dober? That's in my opinion. That's fight like if you're talking about fight of the night from the entire card. That fight was the best of the entire card.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's the other thing. Like there's a whole early prelims and undercard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
But in my opinion, that Brad Riddell fight, holy shit, man. What he went through, him and Izzy both, losing, that team member, and then still having to fight within a week or two of that incident.
Yeah.
And pulling out. I mean, Riddell had just the game plan for a guy who has a head harder than a fucking juggernaut from X-Men. I don't understand how you cannot knock out Drew Dober. That dude was taking shots. His head was on a swivel the entire fight, and he just kept coming forward.
Yeah. I mean, and those guys are 155 pounds? Like, wait, what? Who was saying, somebody was saying that they have a head like a fire hydrant.
Yeah, that was Rogan on Drew Dober for sure.
Yeah. But those guys look like bodybuilders. They're just like chunk. And you're telling me that's 155 pounds, 5'8", and all right. I mean, very stout. But yeah, it was a great fight. Man, wish I could remember the all the cards because there were so many great fights. So if we're just talking about the main event, I think you have to go with Moreno.
Yeah.
But I actually really enjoyed Craig snapping Hill's arm. 'Cause I'm sick like that.
Hey.
And he had him in what I call like the Pete Williams, which is that front. It started with that front forearm armbar that Frank Mir got Pete Williams with back in the 90s, 2002.
I'm like, Pete Williams, damn.
Yeah, it's like a weird torque outside from guard. He had him in that. That was a setup, and then he obviously transitioned to 17 more subs from there.
I thought Pete Williams was known for the first head kick knockout.
But he wasn't because that was Gerard Godot versus Haley Tully in UFC 1. I don't know why the fuck Pete Williams is in the Hall of Fame. That was not the first head kick KO by a landslide.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the first head kick KO was the very first UFC fight in UFC. So, yeah, I don't know why.
Because maybe they weren't considering it a true head kick because the dude was
the rules and
on his.
It was a sumo wrestler versus a Dutch kickboxer, and he knocked his out and put him on his back.
But he was on all fours when he got kicked. He wasn't standing.
And there was no finishes back then too. That was back in UFC. The only rules that Bob Meyerowitz had were tap, snap, or dive. There was no rest stoppages in the first UFC. So
right.
And Taylor Tully went out. They were like, "Do we keep going? What do we do here?" I think they had to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Fucking wasteland. First, goddamn. I can still hear Bill Wallace in my head. Pain hurts, ladies and gentlemen. Or Jim Brown. Jim Brown. Pain hurts, ladies and gentlemen. Like, yeah, thanks, bro. Real obvious.
I got to see that Dober and Riddle. I didn't see that fight, so I have to go back and see it.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking holy shit.
Yeah.
It's good. It's wild. It doesn't start wild, but it gets with it all.
No, it's definitely a must watch.
Yeah, I have to go back and see it. Alex, what do you think? What's your fight of the night?
I have to go Moreno, Brand Moreno.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah,
especially when you look at like the story and the background to it, you know what he's gone through.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, to be honest, he had no fear in that fight too, which I loved. He didn't come out scared at all.
He came out ready. He came out ready.
He came out hungry. Very, very hungry for it.
That's like the most confidence in a challenger I've seen. I'd say since like Sarah St. Pierre, as far as underdog with I don't want to say misplaced confidence, but misplaced by other people outside of the camp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they wanted to fight. They wanted to fight each other.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And great things happen when both fighters really want to fight.
Yeah.
He looked good, especially when he came out like Sue's entrance. I was like, man, I don't want to fight that fucking guy.
Yeah. I don't want to fight Lauren Murphy. I don't want to fight Rose. I don't want to fight anybody.
With Lauren Murphy and JoJo.
Yeah,
I thought there was on the earlier on the prelims and the undercard. I thought there was actually a lot of. I always think I hate judges. I mean, okay, I'm friends with some judges, but judges are so incompetent, inconsistent. It's really frustrating. But my perspective is, if you're not finishing your fight, fuck you anyway. So you deserve that coin toss. If you're not knocking them out or submitting them or making the ref pull you off or the doctor intervene, man, that's what you're here to do. That's your job. And if you're kind of half-assing it and hope you win the rounds and hope for the decision, well, you deserve to have shitty judges. So, that's kind of how I feel. But with JoJo, I don't know. I felt like JoJo did more, and was much more effective in the striking. But I don't even know how I started talking about that. I'm sorry.
No, it's actually good because
I brought up my fear of fighting anybody in the UFC, from anybody, any division, any gender, like conflict. Like,
but
terrifying.
I think that fight overall, I think already kind of like got the number one contender versus Shevchenko now, pretty much, right? The winner of that was supposed to fight her.
Pretty much. Any fight was the number
Yeah.
one contender's fight.
Yeah, but Murphy won, so now we're gonna see her Shevchenko now. So
Yeah.
that's another division that is like that's
That- man, what kind of problems do we have, right? With Amanda Nunes, Shevchenko, Bullet, right? It's like they are so far above the rest of the species that it's like, okay, here, try this one. Here, try this one. Here, try this one. Right? At least the strawweights are still interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Agreed.
That's true.
But I think Rose is going to stay there. I don't think anyone's touching Rose for quite
No,
some time.
no.
Quite some time.
Yeah, I feel that way too, especially after. I don't want to say she corrected any wrongs in the Andrade fight, because in the first time they fought, that game plan was working until it wasn't. And obviously, she thought had too much confidence in that Kimura, didn't let it go. The game plan, I think, picked up where it left off, minus that Kimura position, and she just pieced her up with distance, range, that Trevor Whitman school of I'll fuck you up with my jab and footwork. Just a straight mastermind performance in that one. And in the Weili Zhang fight, I don't think I've ever screamed louder ever in my life for an MMA fight. It was
You lost your voice that day. You
Yeah.
lost your voice.
It was the fastest kick I'd ever seen ever in my life. And she was out so fast, I didn't realize what happened. I was like, just because I love Rose so much, man, and I just did not. Faster than the blink of an eye, I couldn't even process that she just cold starched this chick and had her belt back.
I am the best.
All is right. Yeah. Let the tears flow, man. Me and Rose cried together, when she wins fights, for sure. So, yeah. It's a long second place for, at least like you said, Shevchenko and Nunes. And Nunes in both divisions. There's technically not even a 45 division anymore. I mean, I think Felicia Spencer is all that's left. Durandamy hasn't really fought for a while. So I know that Pena is technically next at 35.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's still a distance. So, and then for Valentina Shevchenko, I mean, Lauren is probably going to get it. And honestly, the only fight that interests me would be, I love Tatiana Suarez. I'd love to see that fight just to see it. But yeah, it's, like you said, it's queens amongst not queens, I guess, princesses.
Right, there you go.
So I'm gonna close it out right now. I have had, that's my belt right there.
This is your belt, bro. I gotta, yeah.
I need to get the actual UFC one, but I ain't got $3K to spend on whoever's making that shit. I don't know if it's still SoCal Choppers. But an absolute honor to have Coach Rage Ing back again. You can find him on Instagram. It is the Rage Ing, so Rage NG. There's no I in there. He has a YouTube channel as well with the same name. Lots of great content. Talk about real quick what they can find on your YouTube channel. Are there clinics, things like lessons, techniques, kind of going on?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is really aimed at the higher spectrum of the sport. So I debunk a lot of mythology. I talk about a lot of sports science, exercise science, specific to MMA. A lot of great content, especially if you are a fighter or a coach.
Awesome. We will drop those links to all of our social medias down below. Feel free to like, smash subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates. I've been Chris Kennedy from the Circle of Debate for Ivan and Alex from the Championship on the Line podcast. Again, I appreciate your time, Coach, and we will see you guys for the next UFC pay-per-view. Thank you.